Hello, fabulous superstar Libra. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of November 2025. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. Synchronicity University is proud to present some absolutely incredible programs starting this month over at synchronicityuniversity.com with me looking at past lives in the astrology chart part 3. Mark Lawrenson, super popular superstar astrologer, teaching on the astrology of intimacy, and these incredible speakers only at synchronicityuniversity.com, links below. On the 5th of the month, we are going to have this month's full moon. This full moon takes place in a part of the sky for you that has to do with change, truth, transformation, regeneration, and wealth. It has to do with your understanding of power, how you understand it and how you wield it, how you embody it as well, and your understanding of your own truth, which leads you to know what it is that stays and what goes in your life. It's about getting to some deeper truths about what really matters, especially to you and for you. Now, this part of the sky having to do with wealth and resourcefulness, well, I think there are going to be a lot of Libras who experience this energy having to do with needing to interact with a financial institution, whether it is for a loan or a mortgage or even benefits you qualify for. This understanding of how it is that you might be able to attract what it is that you need or cultivate a greater sense of wealth. Now, also with this, lump sums of money can find you, but they tend to be oriented around things like commission payments. In some cases, that might have felt like they were about due, and now here it is, they come through. Now, it's possible that whatever it is that does feel like it comes together now might be rooted in what was taking place for you 6 months ago. It was 6 months ago that we had a new moon in this same part of the sky. And now with this full moon bringing to fruition what it was that might have started back then. This full moon's key characteristics include harmonious connections to Jupiter and Saturn. And that brings with it a sense of support, but also possibility. Saturn represents whatever might be happening. Well, it has long-term implications. What you cultivate now, you can build on. Opportunities that come now have the potential to change things for you in a positive way. With Jupiter, there's healing, there's hope, there's that much more possibility. There's a feeling of being able to cultivate your own blessings that might feel especially strong. It was all the way back in 2018 that Uranus moved into this wealth-oriented part of the sky for you, and for the most part has been here since then. We did have Uranus moving forward, step out of this part of the sky, giving you a little bit of a taste of how different the energies are about to be. But now here we are, and it is about Uranus beginning to wrap up some loose ends for you, helping you to really find those deeper threads and understanding of how you are going to define wealth on your own terms, what your truth is, and an appreciation of the self-knowledge that you've earned over the course of the last years. It is this self-knowledge that will stay with you very likely for the rest of your life, really solidifying that knowing for the best and in gratitude is part of the spirit of this moment. On the 9th of the month, Mercury goes retro. Here we are, another Mercury retrograde. And for the first 10 days, from the 9th to the 19th, Mercury will be going retrograde in a part of the sky for you that has to do with siblings, cousins, and neighbors, and it has to do with communication and learning. It is going to be on the 19th of the month, right to the 29th, that it will be Mercury that is retrograde in the other financial part of the sky that has to do with money you earn, money you spend. Self-love and self-esteem is part of this area of life as well. Now, I find this rather fascinating because when we have a Mercury retrograde where two areas of life become connected, it means that you are being invited to appreciate the deeper connection playing out here. And in your case, ideas, mind, perception, how you are thinking about yourself, the ideas that you are holding, and how they support your sense of prosperity or not. It's about understanding and changing your mind around how it is you are going to define abundance on your own terms. Now, in very practical ways, I do want to say for some, it could be that money matters are coming into focus. And it might in some way relate to what is taking place with those siblings, cousins, and neighbors in your life. In fact, energies like this do suggest that a part of you might feel like you want to be generous, that you have something to give. And whether it is your time, whether it is other resources, your presence, and yes, maybe your money as well. There might be an impetus here now for you to feel like you want to give, but are you giving from a place where it's actually going to be effective or not? That becomes part of the consideration for you at this time. For all that, though, know that miscommunications and misunderstandings with those siblings, cousins, and neighbors become very possible here in the first part of Mercury retrograde. In the second part of the Mercury retrograde, it is confusions around money matters. So whether it is that you are buying certain things, I like to advise during a Mercury retrograde, it's a good idea not to purchase things that involve you feeling like it is a significant purpose, or even if it necessarily isn't. I just find that once it is that Mercury goes direct, you just change your mind, or what you thought you wanted might actually look different to you once we get to Mercury direct. Now you add to this the fact that a important chapter of this Mercury retrograde is with Mercury in a financial part of the sky. And it becomes that much more likely that you might end up spending money on things that have you feeling like it was a waste of some kind. I'm sorry to say it does happen. And I know for some people out there, it won't be that big a deal. It truly is okay. But for others, it's going to feel as if you're that much more aware of what it is that is the balance between what's coming in and what's going out. Wonderful ways to use this energy, though, are in reflection. All the ways in which you are prosperous right now, all the ways in which you can cultivate a sense of what could be possible for you. Returning to former sources of income, especially those that really felt like they tapped into something deep within you and brought you that sense of possibility and that personal sense of clarity. Those are matters that can be very blessed. Now, this part of the sky having to do with healthy self-love, healthy self-esteem, those can be very important areas at this time as well. Wonderful ways to use a Mercury retrograde is to understand more deeply how far you've come in matters of healthy self-love and healthy self-respect, and let it reach a deeper part of you, knowing that knowing about yourself is the greatest wealth that there can be. Now, I've been focusing a lot on the second part of this Mercury retrograde season for you that has to do with the money part, but the first part, in addition to what I already mentioned, the siblings, cousins, neighbors, because this part of the sky has to do with documents, understanding, reading, writing, communicating of all kinds. As a general rule, astrologers, we like to say that Mercury retrograde is not the best time to be signing documents, to be making final decisions or life-altering choices right about now. However, when you have Mercury retrograde in this mind and document part of the sky, it is that much more likely that you will be misunderstanding certain documents, and it's that much more imperative that you might want to be diligent with striving to understand, but also allowing yourself some space, knowing that more information is set to come through, especially once it is that Mercury goes direct at the end of the month, especially where it is that you might be signing documents that have anything to do with money, where you're hoping to earn money, for example, or you're spending money. That is where these two areas of life start to merge. And well, this Mercury retrograde season becomes that much more significant for you. And so, I like to say pace yourself and be yourself, but you've also got to trust your life. If it feels like there really isn't a choice, this is what it is that you have to do at this moment, then of course, trust that above and beyond anything else. But also allow yourself space to know whether it is that you change your mind, whether it is that whatever your expectations are, it ends up going another way. Allowing space for that can go a really long way towards making the best of this moment. On the 10th of this very jam-packed month, Jupiter will go retrograde, and Jupiter goes retrograde in the top of your sky, having to do with career, social standing, and life purpose. This magnifies the significance of Jupiter at this time. Jupiter, of course, is a blessing. It can be big blessings, but with Jupiter going retrograde now, it invites you to go within, to really have a clarity of understanding as to which direction you're going in a higher sense and what a higher, more loving vision for your life just might be. This part of the sky, yes, has to do with career, but it also has to do with life purpose, how you understand it and how you live it. And a retrograde Jupiter at the top of your sky is going to invite you to cultivate that awareness. What is it that you are actually going for in a larger sense, and what it is that you understand your purpose to be? That is part of the conviction that might feel like it stirs for you in some way now, as part of a beginning of an important contemplation. Once we move forward and we get into March and Jupiter goes direct, that's when all the clarity that you're finding within yourself will be able to translate that much more readily into decisive action that you'll likely be taking at that time. This month's new moon happens on the 20th of the month, and it is hand in hand with that retrograde Mercury in that part of the sky that has to do with the money you earn, money you spend, self-love, and self-esteem. Mercury will be newly retrograde in this part of the sky, and this new moon is such an important part of how that retrograde is experienced that much more readily. And I feel like this is a depth of understanding, of perception, of insight. And new moons always bring with them new beginnings, but what those new beginnings are going to be for you, well, if they have a connection to what has taken place before, well, there might be a very uncanny way that you have to attract financial opportunities that you thought were gone. They just might come back around at this time and be even better, even filled with more promise than they were before. What you do need to be careful of is the brand spanking new stuff. That's where you got to be careful with all these retrogrades playing out. Now, having said that, Uranus is across the sky from this new moon. The changes, the opportunities that come up, they're going to take you by surprise, seemingly out of nowhere. Maybe even a moment of shock is what starts the process of realization of where it is there might be an opportunity to pick up that opportunity you thought was gone. But this new moon is part of what we call a grand trine configuration with Saturn, Neptune, and with Jupiter as well. And having this incredible grand trine energy speaks volumes to the ease and flow of blessings that could be there at this time. The blessings that do come, they have the potential to last a very long time as well. Again, Mercury is retrograde, so give yourself a little bit of grace, knowing that things, or at least more things, have yet to be revealed, and you might evaluate whatever's happening around the new moon differently once we get to the end of the month. And yet, it might be what happens at this new moon exactly what it is that you need it to be, to affirm a sense of prosperity with you now. Where it comes to matters of love, for the first 5.5 days or so, you are going to continue to have Venus in your sign. And whenever Venus is in your sign, it is as if you are a magnet. You're able to attract love that much more readily towards you, or at least loving moments as well. Now, once it is that Venus changes signs on the 6th of the month, it is going to be love and self-love that become intimately tied. For those of you open to meeting someone new, you still have those days right out of the gate as we start this month to feel as if love is able to come together for you that much more readily, and to feel as if you just being yourself, enjoying your life is more than enough to feel like you're attracting real possibilities there. Outside of that, once that Venus does change signs, you will likely be having exchanges with other people, but the anchor of it, the question of it is always going to come back to where are you in terms of healthy self-love within yourself and for yourself. That is going to play a key part for you at this time. Now, for those of you just starting to date someone, I love the energy in the first days of the week. It is hopeful. It is you having sweet moments, believing in love, feeling very connected to love, whether that's something you're cultivating with this person or an awareness of the options available to you in the context of love. Once Venus does change signs, though, the questions that you're asking do change as to whether or not there's a pathway forward. And it's going to rest on a couple of things. One is, does this person affirm healthy self-love and self-value for you or not? Whether it's in the way that they speak to you, whether it is in the insights that they share with you. Does it help you to feel good about your understanding of whom it is that you are or not? But outside of that, for some, it might feel as if money matters become something, maybe they come into focus, but they'll at least be of interest, especially where it is that there might be financial disparity between the two of you and the different incomes that are there. If that is at all an issue, well, you might be paying more attention to that in some way. And it isn't that you are looking at it from the perspective of being materialistic, but rather to have a more honest understanding of what role the differences in financial status or financial place in life, is it matter? Does it feel like something that is significant or not? Just clarifying that for yourself can go a really long way at this time. And for those of you in an established bond, for the overwhelming majority, it's going to feel very sweet and lovely in the first days of this month once Venus changes signs. It might feel like you are called on to be generous with your partner in some way, and it looks like you're feeling generous as well, and you have it to give, and that's a lovely thing. For those of you who might have felt that you might not be in the right relationship for you, it might be money matters that come into focus in some way, whether it feels as if you are very aware of what you're worth, how much this person affirms your sense of worth, or you might be aware of how the give and take of financial matters is playing out in this relationship. Well, all of this becomes at least a topic of interest, maybe of consideration, as part of figuring out what it is you might want to do next. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say that new moon that takes place on the 20th of the month, it is an energy that has a surprise a minute to it. But what I love about it is that it does really drive home the awareness and the wisdom of what this Mercury retrograde season is meant to be for you, especially in the context of understanding healthy self-love, healthy self-esteem, and prosperity. Even your relationship with money becomes highlighted at this time. The fact that that new moon is part of a grand trine energy, it says that the blessings are going to be there. The key really is to define blessings in your own terms and in your own way. In that way, you'll be able to identify what abundance and sources of abundance actually matter to you, and let that guide your important choices from here. Thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Membership rate over at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expansive, exclusive video scopes each week for each sign for as low as just $3 a month. Now, higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, links below. A limited number of consultations are available with me between now and the end of the year, online on my website, NadiyaShah.com, and in person this month in Montreal, Canada. You can learn more and sign up for yours now, link below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.